On show 457, Daimler's new boss has big decisions to make, Tesla Roadster versus F1 car, and Rich rebuilds a whole garage. Those stories and many more coming up on today's podcast. This is called EV News Daily. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the show. Sunday edition, Sunday 28th of April. My name is Martyn Lee, and I've been through every EV story today, even at the weekends. In any 5 minutes of downtime, I'm searching through the stories to find you the essential news that you need to know to save you some time. I've been flicking through my EV as well, looking at Tesla Model 3s, which is my current obsession, because Model 3 goes on sale next week, 1st or 2nd of May in the UK, right-hand drive. Oh man, I'd love to buy a brand new Tesla Model 3. Well, I wouldn't be buying it, I'd be getting it on finance, which isn't really my style. So I've been looking at used ones, not that there are any in the UK, but in the US. So I went onto my EV, looked at the Model 3s sorted by lowest price. And for like $42,000, there's a long-range one, which is the cheapest one. It's in Miami, Florida, and it's done a fair few miles, but a good spec on the car as well. And you think, oh man, if there was a used car market here in the UK for Model 3s, I would bite your hand off for one of those. Check it out, myev.com. Only in the US for now. It's all about buying and selling and learning about only EVs. Well, thank you to another Patreon supporter who has moved their level of support up. It just blows my mind. From producer to executive producer. I only know him as Leo, which it comes through on my email as simply Leo, no surname. So thank you so much, and thank you as well to Sascha. Now, Sascha Pallenberg, who I think was my original partner of the show back when I first went on to Patreon, and gave me the confidence to think, actually, this is an idea that I could, take forward and do this EV podcast a little more seriously, and has given me loads of advice. That must over 6 months Sascha's been supporting me. Come to the end of his support for now. And just a reminder, if you support me on Patreon, they do their billing cycle around the first of the month. So if it's the kind of thing where you think, right, I've come to the end of, supporting for now, whatever, it's entirely optional. Remember to cancel. If you want to stay with me, that would be amazing as well. Never any pressure. I'm so appreciative of 216 people around the world, most of them who I'll never meet, and they'll never know how enormously grateful I am that they fund the show. And actually it's as well as Patreon supplies the money to keep the show going, but also it's that kind of moral support as well. At times when you think, oh man, I can see the show growing, but this is hard work and I'm tired, or it's the end of a day, or I've been on a family day out, and you think, oh man, there's people who I know listen to this show, and that gives me the energy to make it. So thank you. Anyway, I'm digressing. Thank you to everyone who supports me financially. It means I can't ever begin to say how much it means. Thank you. Right, Daimler's incoming CEO, Ola Källenius, is soon going to be making some big decisions on where to take an axe to some of the costs the automaker is adjusting to, well, the new world order, really, the new headwinds of trade tensions, plateauing sales in some parts of the world, and a pricey strategy of having to electrify. The new boss of Daimler is reportedly looking for $6.75 billion in cost savings and efficiency gains by the year 2021 at Mercedes-Benz car plants, reports Automotive News today. From Ola himself, I will read you out a little reply to an interview question from them. He said this, and I quote, "There's no two ways about it. The world is going towards zero emissions in the long term. For us, in the next 5 to 10 years, battery electric vehicles play an absolutely crucial role to go there. Our strategy toward electrification is based upon 3 pillars. Every single combustion engine that we will get a 48-volt hybrid system. Then we'll have plug-in hybrids in every segment, and we'll have full battery electric vehicles. We don't have hybrid vehicles. We believe that plug-in hybrids at this point is a better use for the customer because you can truly drive electric. The cost structure of electric vehicles in this first generation or two are definitely higher than what we have been used to with combustion engines. It's one of the main tasks as we scale and further develop the technology, primarily on the battery side, to drive the costs down. That will take many years. It's our goal to be a profitable business. The business case with electric vehicles has to be profitable as well." End quote. And it's interesting. He's saying that we're going to carry on making combustion cars, but we'll electrify them in a way. We'll have plug-ins and we'll have full electric cars. Very, very different to someone like Toyota, like a Lexus, who are pinning pretty much most of their hopes. They're I wouldn't say they bet the house. They're not exactly gambling the whole company, but they're certainly putting a stake in the ground. Now, Toyota say it's all about the hybrid. And then you've got Daimler. So they're, another massive, one of the world's biggest car makers and vehicle makers, actually, with trucks and commercial vehicles going, you know what? It doesn't make sense unless it's got a plug. And personally, I go with that version of the future, but we'll see. Let's move on to Tesla. And the Tesla Roadster has been pitched against a Ferrari Formula One car, but sadly not for real. This is in a simulated video. It's amazing what smart super brains can do with CGI. So they've taken the stats of both cars and made them race in CGI, but it's not entirely accurate because the Roadster walks all over the Formula One car. Sorry for the spoiler there. Go and watch the video on Inside EVs. Eric Loveday for InsideEVs.com says that the next generation Tesla Roadster will supposedly boast a range of 621 miles, but it's the performance stats that's got everyone's attention. Some would argue that its range figure takes a back seat to its insane level of performance. 0 to 60, 1.9 seconds. The quickest production car in the world. 0 to 100, 4.2. Quarter mile in 8.8. And that beats every other production car. Top speed at least 250, maybe more, 250 miles an hour. Now, those are impressive stats. But could the new Roadster beat a Ferrari Formula One car in the real world? Well, off the line. Maybe. The Roadster does have a 0 to 60 advantage over an F1 car, which can do 0 to 60 in about 2.1 to 2.7, but then the F1 car will not only take off, but also the minute you get to a corner, then all of that drag, all of that downforce kicks in. But, maybe 0 to 60, 0 to 100, possibly the Roadster could hold its own. Go check out this CGI video. It's funny to watch. It's amazing, really, that someone can make this thing. It looks very, very, very cool. Now, you may be aware of a YouTube channel called Rich Rebuilds. He's talking of super brains, a super brain independent mechanic, and buys and has bought in the past flood-damaged Teslas and makes them good again. Rich Benoit runs the popular YouTube channel Rich Rebuilds, and he takes those broken down Teslas, brings them back to life, documenting his journey every step of the way on his channel. Now, he and his business partner is a former parts manager of Tesla, who was let go during one of their restructurings, are going to open up their own repair shop to help stem some of the demand for Tesla's servicing. Tesla customers have often complained about having to wait weeks to get their cars serviced, and I will pop a link in the show notes to the yahoo.com article. It's a 8 or 9 minute video with Rich talking to the TV crew about the plans to build this big new garage. They've got the land, they've got the plans, the construction's about to start, and obviously he's got a ton of the knowledge. His business partner used to work at Tesla, got all the contacts, knows the people to ask for the bits. Tesla are not forthcoming, is the word I'll use. They're not particularly forthcoming with information. So in Rich's videos before, he's detailed things like finding a car that doesn't work or has been damaged and putting a request into Tesla to say, what's the history of this car? Can you tell me what happened to it? And they don't. Even if I think it was on one of Rich Rebuilds videos, I think even with Tesla, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone from Tesla listening, you can always correct me anonymously. I think even if you go to them, if you're buying a used car or a CPO car or a used Tesla, and you say to them, when was the last time it was serviced? They won't tell you. I think that was on Rich's channel. Again, I have no personal experience of that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but even if you ask for the paperwork, can you give me, any other automaker in the world? Can you just print out what's in the system? And they, sometimes it's 2 pages, sometimes it's 22 pages, but can you print out the service record of this car? I want to see the history. When, how many miles had it done after year 1, 2, 3 or whatever? And Tesla will say, no. Thanks for asking, but no. Let's move on. Tesla's Model Y has gone on display. This is so cool. For employees to see outside of one of its factories. And it's a factory that I didn't even know. So in the researching of this story, I've actually learned about a new production facility that Tesla has. They have a seat factory. presume they bought them in from somebody, but it sounds like they make their seats themselves. It's in Fremont. It's on Page Street. 901 Page Street, Fremont is where your seats are made if you have a Tesla. It's about 3 miles from their main factory. In photos published on Reddit today, the deep blue metallic Model Y, which you may have seen on stage for the Model Y reveal and then was giving test drives, has now been put on display outside that particular facility, writes Stettia for Teslarati. The vehicle on display is outfitted with Chrome Delete. That's where it's a popular aftermarket community kind of option, and it's becoming a factory option with the Model Y as well to take all the chrome off the car. The all-electric crossover is seen with Tesla's sport wheels in black, and they offer their sport wheels in silver as a $1,500 option in the Model Y and the Model 3 online configurator as well. What do you get the man or woman who has everything? The answer is an electric boat. And what do you do when you have an electric boat? Well, then you need a boathouse that charges your electric boat. Lithuania's VM Productions have developed a couple of all-electric boats, the VM800, the VM900, they're 8 and 9 metres respectively. And now they're testing an electric boathouse / boat garage that has integrated wind turbines, has solar panels on the roof, and it charges the batteries of your electric boat, or even your EV if it's parked next to it. Reports Plug Boats. Now, Serelis Danil Avicus is the export manager of the company, and they told the news agency BNS Lithuania that their new boathouse is going to have 12 wind turbines, and the wind turbines are not the ones with the blades that spin around, the kind of typical wind turbine. Have you seen the vertical ones? The ones that are they're like a flagpole right up the middle, and then they've got some kind of funny shaped fins running down the outside, but they're vertical. So they're vertical wind turbines. It's those, and they've got those plus solar, and that generates the electricity to charge your e-boat. I'll put a link in the show notes if you're interested. Well, Volkswagen has completed its first testing at the Nürburgring Nordschleife with its Volkswagen IDR Racer ahead of an official attempt to break the lap record for an electric car. As part of an extensive testing program, Romain Dumas once again took the wheel of the IDR to hone the car for the tortuous 20.8 kilometre long track, says motoring.com.au. Now, Romain is also already a 4-time Nürburgring winner. Dumas also used his experience to adapt the IDR with a team of engineers to modify and evolve the Pikes Peak Racer to the more bumpy, uneven surface of the former Formula 1 track. To steal the lap record for pure EV, the IDR is going to have to beat 6 minutes and 45.9 seconds as set by the Neo EP9 2 years ago. There's a video in the link on motoring.com.au if you want to see a little 4 or 5 minute piece with Romain talking to camera, and also some in-car camera shots as well. There's obviously no noise apart from the whine of those motors. Okay, let's get on to our question of the week this week. And it's been a really fun one as well. Question of the week this week was, what's the dumbest thing you've ever heard about EVs? And this was a bit of an own goal on my part, because in order to answer the question, you had to write it down. So what a lot of people on YouTube, on the YouTube comments were doing, they were going on there and writing the dumbest thing they've ever heard about EVs, and then people were replying, not realizing that those people had written an initial comment in answer to my question, and then subsequent commenters were going, well, that's a dumb thing to say about EVs, and then the original poster was having to come back and go, no, that's question of the week. I'm saying what the dumb thing is. Sorry about that. I didn't think that one through. It all worked out okay in the end. What's the dumbest thing you've heard about EVs? John Brooks, who is on socials, Beardy McBeardface, and now runs Kent EVs, says that the daftest thing he ever heard about EVs came from some small-time car maker saying that their hybrids were self-charging. Come on, John, behave yourself. As if I'm the kind of person that would ever comment on a self-charging hybrid. Not that they exist. Rajiv Narayan says one of the saddest and harmful misconceptions about EVs that I've seen is their manufacturing and operational life cycle are actually more harmful to the environment than a diesel or an ICE car. This misconception has been given further life by flawed studies that incorrectly overestimate the lifetime mileage of ICE vehicles and underestimate mileage of EVs and completely discount battery recycling. dropping cobalt concentrations, ignoring thousands of deaths a year attributed to NOx and other particulates. Moreover, the growth of electric ride-sharing over traditional car ownership will increase the number of miles driven by any particular EV, further limiting environmental impact. Good point. John Froworth says, "Hi Martin, the craziest thing I heard about EVs was that a husband told his wife EVs are okay so long as she was prepared to deal with the nuclear radiation from the batteries." Yeah. Well, I've been driving an EV for a while now, and so far, because I sit on top of the batteries, so far my bum is, it seems okay. It seems like I haven't got too much nuclear radiation in the old backside, but I'll get it tested because I'm sitting on the batteries. Hello to David. David and I says, "Gday mates from Brisbane in Australia. A middle-aged lady, a friend of a friend who happens to own a Prius, asked me, 'Don't you wish your car was self-charging like mine?'" She was actually, he says she was serious. He was initially speechless, he says, but then as politely as I could, it kind of educated her on what his car can do with the plug socket on it. Hello to Joshua. Joshua Pritt says, "I had someone ask if you could wash your EV. I guess they thought they would get an electric shock if the car got wet and then they touched it. I assured them they were perfectly safe to wash." Really? Well, mine doesn't get washed very often. That's the excuse. I can't wash it, I'm afraid. No, it's electric. I'll just sit here and watch the Formula E race instead of being outside washing my car. No, I can't get it wet. Dave, who is at evsmiles.co.uk, says, "I exhibit my car at a few UK car shows and events trying to help raise awareness and smash the myths about EVs. On this occasion, it was a classic car show with the excellent Electra AA group. Some guys dressed as fake American police officers wandered up to my car and we were chatting. The trouble with these EVs is they're all powered by diesel generators, they said. Thousands of them all around the country, so they're worse than normal cars by a very long way. These guys said to him. To be honest, says Dave, I was lost for words. Most of the normal myths are easy to answer, but this took the biscuit. They also had the police car, a fake police car to go with the fake outfits. So I had to give them bonus points for commitment to dressing up at an event. Sadly, it wasn't a Tesla. Hello to Paul. Now, Paul Cotterill says the dumbest thing he's been asked by someone was, "What is an electric vehicle?" Sounds like a dumb thing, but I guess these are people who are not listening to an EV podcast. So maybe it's a fair question. I don't know. What's the most stupid thing I've heard, says Richard Nash. My father-in-law always says, "But where's it charged from? Coal-powered stations." And he's convinced that the batteries last a few years, then they get thrown in landfill. It winds me up, says Richard. Yeah, I get that all the time. All the time from people saying, "Oh, yeah, but you've got to plug it in, and what happens? They burn coal to make electricity." Well, there is a bazillion answers to that. The easiest one is to say, look, we recently broke the record, here in the UK at least, was it 82 hours in a row where not a single coal-powered plant was even turned on, even for 5 minutes to do a bit of backup when there was a peak. Not a single one was turned on for the weekend, for the long weekend. I think it was like 80-something hours. Renewables are off the scale at the moment, but we should be doing more. But we're certainly seeing the impact of investments over the last 5 to 10 years with renewables. We should be doing more with onshore wind as well. But anyway, and that's the easiest answer to give. Actually, look, these days, renewables, nuclear base load, there's no coal being burned. You want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, something that Elon's talked about on stage before. Even if you ran an EV on coal-powered electricity versus an equivalent petrol or diesel car, because EVs are so much more efficient, and because when you, on an industrial scale, create electricity, so coal-powered stations, gas turbine power stations, because they are more efficient than your little old engine in the front of a combustion car, the power they make is made more efficiently. So in a car engine, in a small, whatever, but if you have an engine in your car, then all of the energy is being lost to heat and a bit of noise and a bit of forward momentum. But actually, if you have a power station, they are more efficient than a car engine. So that's, you want to get a little bit deeper, you can go into that. And then if you want to, you can, there's all sorts of studies been done where actually that's been completely disproven. So it's an interesting one to end up on. Thank you so much to all of your answers for Question of the Week this week. I've had so much fun reading those, and way more as well I didn't get time to, because we're at 20 minutes. I like to keep this podcast bite-sized if that's possible. Let's set a brand new question of the week, as set by myev.com, and it's a brand new one to get your teeth into. Send me an email with your answer to this, and it's inspired, actually, by the Rich Rebuilds story about opening his own garage to service EVs. Is there a future for independent servicing in a world of EVs? These days, I wouldn't try and fix my own laptop. 10, 15 years ago, I was building computers, right? I had no more fun than looking through parts catalogues and ordering the certain type of memory to fit the right kind of motherboard. I used to build desktop machines. I used to love it. I'd order the CD-ROM drive. I'd be like, 52 speed, amazing. And then, pair that with a graphics card, and am I going to get like a Celeron chip, or is it going to be an AMD chip? I wasted hours of my life doing that, building them, selling them. Never on like a commercial scale, but I used to love doing that. These days, this MacBook that I'm looking at now, if it goes wrong, I ain't fixing it. I'm taking it back to somebody else. Are EVs the equivalent? When your EV breaks, all things break, machines break. Is there a world for independent servicing in a world of EVs? Is there a world for Rich Rebuilds? Or would you just give it straight back to Tesla and go, I don't know, it's broken, fix it? Certainly here in the UK, Cleveley EV independent specialists would respectfully disagree with anybody that says there's no future for independent EVs. They're even independent fixers. They're even training others as well. Or are EVs so mind-bogglingly complicated? Is it better to just have a warranty, or just have a reasonably new car? Goes wrong, send it back. What do you reckon? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Email me. It's hello@evnewsdaily.com. Facebook and YouTube comments are open as well. Well, thank you very much to 217 patrons of the podcast for keeping me going. I value your support so much. Thank you very much, Phil. Now, Phil Roberts from Electric Future, EF.Energy here in the UK, is a premium partner of the show. Thank you, Phil. And Brad as well. Brad Crosby at the beginning of the year emailed me to say, look, I'm going to join up. I'm going to support the show, help you grow it, and just because I want to. And thank you, Brad and Phil. Thank you, both of you, so much. Brad Crosby, our premium partner. Hello to our partners of the show as well. Well, that's David Allen, who was early doors as well. Hello to the gang at OEM Audio of New Zealand and evpower.co.nz. If you're in New Zealand and you're looking for those accessories, cables, things like that, evpower.co.nz. Hello to Paul O'Connor as well. Now, Paul O'Connor is a partner of the show, and all our exec producers. I value your support so much. Alan Robson, Alex Banahini, Alexander Frank and his own YouTube channel. Anders Hove, Harold Gier-Skalsveen, Ashley Hill, Bjard Fuchstak, Barry Penniston, Bob Muir from GingerComputers.com in Dundee, Borislav Borisov, Brent Kingsford, Brian Thompson. Yes, the Brian Thompson. Brian Weatherall, Cesar Trujillo, Chris Benson, Chris Hopkins, Craig Coles, Craig Rogers, Damien Davis, Darren Bird, Darren Sant from Yorkshire EV Club, Dave Jewson, David Barkman, David Finch, David Partington, David Prescott, Derek Likes, Dirk Rotsatz, Don McAllister, and screencastsonline.com. Tell you what, if you want to know anything about Apple, the world of Apple, check out screencastsonline.com. Enrico Stefan Schillo, Frederick Rovick, Free Jewel, aka James, George Clargo, Jack Oakley, James Storr, Jason Fan, Jeff Urbies, Jerry Allison, Jill Smith, John Bailey, John, who is Beardy McBeardface from Kent EVs, John Nodell, John Timmis, Juan Gonzalez, Ken Morris, Kevin Mason, Kira Van Yam, Lars Dallager, Lawrence D. Allen, Leo, Lejek Gzil, Louis Hopkin, Luke Cully, Marcel Lohman, Marcel Ward, Martin Croft, Matt Piccioni, Matthew Ellis, Matthew Gruby, Maz Shah, Mia Oppelstrup, Michael Pastroni, Mike Rogers, Mike Winter, Nathan Gore Brown, Neil E. Roberts from Sussex EVs, Ohad Aston, Paul Seeger-Smith, Paul Stevenson, Pete Glass, Phil Mouchet, Philippe Calvet, Raj Badwell, Rajiv Narayan, Ralph Jensen, Renee Schneider, Rob Cooling, who teaches people to drive in electric cars, appledriving.co.uk, Rupert Mitchell, you heard him on the show recently, Sarah McCann, Sari Kangasoja, Seiki Payne, Steve John, Stuart Hanna, The Limousine Lion in Sydney, Tim Gutteridge, Walter McVeigh, and Zach Hurst. Thank you so much. If I've missed anyone, by the way, because it happens, I'm an idiot. If you're a supporter and I've missed your name out, let me know. I'll add it in. There are 456 previous shows online for free. Get new ones first and free and automatically by hitting that subscribe button in your podcast app, iTunes, Google, Spotify, the rest as well. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll catch you tomorrow, and remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.